The dollar you put aside when you're 20 is worth a lot more than the dollar you put aside when you're 60.
Retirement. It's a time many of us anticipate. After years of labor, it's time to enjoy life. Or is it?
I look back now going, wow, what I should have done compared to what I did do.
More Americans 65 and older are still on the job because they can't afford to retire. Some estimates say 3 out of every 4 baby boomers don't have enough savings to retire. And now, as the younger generation enters the workforce, some are planning to stay on the job forever.
There's no plan to stop. I'm just going to continue on and keep doing it.
Welcome to a Fox 11 Town Hall Retirement Reality Check. Are you ready? Your voice, your future.
Thank you and welcome to Dudley Berger Hall on the St. Norbert College campus in De Pere. I'm Tom Milburn. This is Mark Leland. We're here tonight to have a discussion about something that all of us are going to face at one time or another. That, of course, is retirement. Some maybe sooner rather than later, but we're all going to do it. Are we ready? When do we start? When do we finish? What's going to happen?
That's right. We're calling it a reality check here on your retirement. This is really a wake-up call to get people active right now, to start thinking about their retirement. Instead of putting it off, think about it now because your future is really at stake.
Now, we're trying to help you tonight no matter what phase of life you are in, whether you're a baby boomer, whether you're a Generation Xer, which is really middle age at this point, or whether you're a millennial.
That's right. And to help us, guide us really through this, all these complex issues regarding retirement, we have a panel of experts joining us tonight. Let's meet them now.
Lisa Lampkins is the Federal Issues Advocacy Director for AARP Wisconsin. Bob Atwell is Chairman and CEO of Nicolet Bankshares Incorporated. Kevin Klug is a licensed independent insurance agent with Secure Retirement Solutions.
Our first question of the evening is for the audience as a whole, and the question is, are you ready? Depending on where you are, so if you're a millennial, you don't have to be totally there yet, but do you feel that for where you are ready for retirement? How many think you are? How many think you are not? You need some work to do. That is about the opposite of what the statistics are typically. Most of you thought you were in pretty good shape. A few of you thought you still had work to do, and that is just the opposite of what has generally been going on in the marketplace. So our goal is to try to help fix that tonight.
What we find when we've talked to our members and we did some surveys was that 88% of folks in Wisconsin wish they'd saved more money for retirement. So I'm excited to be here to share some of the policies that we can enact to help people save for retirement.
And I'd like to add a note of optimism that it's a real problem for some people how they're going to live in the years beyond 65. But this is a new problem because people didn't used to live that long. So thank God we're facing it, and face it with optimism and courage.
Positive spin, Bob. Thank you very much. We had to decide to start with one particular group or another, and so we decided to start with the baby boomers because they are the closest to retirement as we speak. Many are ready, many are not. In fact, we're told that for those who are 55 plus, more than half say they have zero retirement savings. Now, they may have a pension, and that certainly would help offset that, but 52% say they have no retirement savings. And so, Mark, there's still room for progress.
Certainly is. Obviously, baby boomers are in the midst of retiring right now. They will be for the next 10 years or so, but they don't have that 10, 20, 30 years to build up that retirement savings. You know, I spoke with a lot of baby boomers who are in the midst of retiring over the past couple of months, and they have different stories to tell, but we narrowed it down to 2 individuals with 2 very different stories.
Randy Harbath retired this month after 40 years at Georgia Pacific. Steve Heiding spent a dozen years in the military and at least 25 driving a truck before retiring in December. Both were hard workers, but only one started saving for retirement with that very first paycheck.
The dollar you put aside when you're 20 is worth a lot more than the dollar you put aside when you're 60. It grows very nicely.
I look back now going, wow, what I should have done compared to what I did do. You know, I've had people all the time tell me, say, hey, it's your money, why hang on to it? Now I know why.
Heiding did start a 401k savings account with his employer, but withdrew the funds when finances got tight. Then later didn't contribute what he should have to the plan. Financial analysts recommend saving 10% of your gross income, 15% if you can manage it. Michael Kiley is president of PAI, a company that administers savings plans. I asked whether most baby boomers retiring now are prepared financially.
In general terms, no. We have, on average, you have about 10,000 people hitting retirement every day, and on average, they have about 16 months worth of savings available to them.
In fact, statistics show only about 28% of baby boomers are adequately funded for retirement.
Correct. So about 3 out of 4 people don't have enough money to just continue making the decisions that they've been making today. They're going to have to make some lifestyle changes to stretch that dollar.
So if you were to do it all over again, you would?
Oh, most definitely. Oh, most definitely. I'd have definitely put in. I would have put something in savings. I'd have put 401k. I'd have invested somewhere.
Hiding thought he still had time to save for retirement, but he didn't plan on a medical disability forcing him to retire. His retirement travel plans have been traded in for feeding the birds in his backyard.
But this is not what I expected to do during retirement.
Did you plan on retiring at age 60?
No. I had planned on going as long as I could. At least, I think I wanted to at least go till 70.
Harbath says he made sacrifices over the years. He did without some new cars and vacations that others were taking in order to invest more in retirement. Budgets were a priority.
Sat down and did a detailed and said, okay, so let's figure out exactly how much we are spending every day and what are we spending it on.
As a result of planning and good fortune, Harbath will have plenty of money to travel, hunt, and fish in retirement. Interest from his 4 decades of investments will provide him a regular paycheck as if he never stopped working.
And you have to figure out, okay, with my lifestyle, if I'm happy with my lifestyle today, then that's how do I make sure I have enough money set aside so I can enjoy that lifestyle in retirement, whenever that might be.
And let's go to our panel now for a little discussion on that. Kevin, if we could start with you. You saw Steve in the story there. Things didn't turn out quite the way he expected. What should he have done differently?
It really goes back to, like they were referring to, a budget. And if you're starting late like that, or if you have hard times, you really have to look at your needs versus your wants.
Absolutely. You know, most of us don't wake up every day and think, oh my gosh, I've got to get a budget done today. We're really busy trying to make ends meet and trying to make things work until the next paycheck. But really, that planning and preparation is absolutely key.
Additionally, we have to do a better job ensuring that we have programs in place for those who are in the greatest need. And so that is certainly something in a bipartisan fashion that we are working on down in Madison.
Statistics show that millennials are actually starting to save earlier than the Generation Xers did, than the baby boomers did. It's about the average age of 23. The question is just how much are they saving? Are they staying in those jobs long enough to take advantage of those 401k plans? But they also are approaching retirement with somewhat of a different attitude. We caught up with a couple of millennials to tell their story.
Millennials are typically described as those born between 1982 and 2002. There are roughly 81 million of them. They are the target consumer for those selling $5 coffees, and no one is more connected through social media. Technologically savvy, ambitious, self-confident, they're planning to change the world. But when they're finished, will they have saved enough money to retire?
The notion of retirement, do you think of retirement?
I think of it, but probably not in the same sense as most folks, and really as an idea. I mean, it's not something that I intend to pursue or do. I don't intend on stopping at any point.
That's right. Matt Bureau, 26, millennial, isn't planning to retire. After 5 years in corporate America, he left to start his own design business. He says he's investing in himself. He finds no real point to save for retirement.
I mean, there's no plan to really like stockpile anything away to kind of sit idle and not do stuff. If you want to do like a backpacking trip to Europe, it doesn't make sense to do it when you're 60 and less able to do those things. Do it now, get the experience.
Do you think this is a millennial attitude?
I think it's maybe an evolved attitude.
Bureau is not necessarily the norm for millennials. In fact, a recent national study found the average millennial begins saving for retirement at age 23, 4 years before the average Generation Xer started, and 8 years sooner than baby boomers at age 31. Mark Schaefer is an assistant professor of economics at St. Norbert College.
I definitely do think there's a trend with the millennial generation of wanting to have some of these experiences and having them earlier rather than I'm going to put my head to the grindstone, work 80 hours a week, and then enjoy this all when I'm 55 or 60 and I get to retire then. I mean, I think there definitely is a change there.
Yeah, you know, it's really this generation of, I think, younger people coming up trying to figure out the world right now.
At age 30, Jacob Bauman is among those millennials who began saving right away. After college, he joined corporate America and started his 401k contribution.
You want to make sure you're making the right moves today to account for what the future might bring.
Bauman is well aware of national statistics that show that 52% of all baby boomers 55 and older have no real retirement savings. And nearly a third of workers in that age group plan to work at least until age 70.
Yeah, you know, in my case, I'm definitely using that information to make financial decisions. So it's one of the reasons why I make sure to take advantage of everything I have available to me today.
Both Bauman and Bureau question with rising college debt for students how they can be expected to save 10 to 15% of their salaries recommended by financial planners.
The conversation we have today might be very different than the conversation we have in 10 years when, again, a lot of those debts are paid off.
Neither are counting on Social Security benefits to help them out. A recent Wells Fargo millennial study found nearly 3/4 of millennials are skeptical of Social Security's role in their retirement.
Social Security, like, there's no real guarantee that that's really going to be there, so I can't really count on anybody else besides myself.
Most millennials have another 30 years or so before they reach the typical age of retirement. And while they're aware of what's been done in the past, they're blazing a new trail with a new attitude.
It's not that I'm not worried about it, it's that I view it differently and kind of prepare for it differently.
And joining us right now, of course, is Matt and Jacob. You saw in the piece there, both of you agree that millennials have a new attitude here, really, toward retirement. Different approaches, but really, you agree on a different attitude.
Yeah, I would say so. You know, one thing I'd point out, though, as well, is look at the demographic that we are right now. We're all very young. I think you've heard from a couple of different people that they weren't saving when they were young either. They didn't really think about that. So I think that's just inherent in not necessarily our generation, but in our age demographic.
It could be, you know, this is what I think I'm going to have at 65.
Yeah.
Is there a projection I can do then to see, just to give me an idea of how much I'm going to need?
Yeah. Yeah, I work often, and that's one of my main objectives when I meet with current clients and new clients is really sitting them down, getting to know them, finding out what their time horizon is.
Are we going to continue to see the government pensions? People want to know what's the future here.
No, I think the number one thing that I'm getting from all of this, and I would like people to know, is that we've gone away, I think, from an external locus of control to more of an internal one. We have to take care of it ourselves, and there are so many options that are available.
Share with us your question.
Yeah, my question is, first of all, I'm thankful that I do work for an employer that does retirement matching, so I'm thankful for that. But is Social Security going to exist, you know, 30, 35, 40 years down the line when I eventually do retire? Because I'm a little worried about that.
I feel at some form or fashion in the future, it will be there. At what capacity?
They're asking me, they're wondering, what am I investing in exactly? High growth stocks or more conservative bonds?
That's the $64,000 question is how long do you hold it?
You know, if you have a reasonable opportunity to invest in your own skill or skill of people that you know, love, and trust, I'm a fan of that.
And do you feel that you're in more control of your financial future this way, even though you're not really saving for retirement?
Absolutely, I'm probably more in control because the work that I do being a designer, like, I control what comes in, what kind of goes out. So if I want to make more money, I hustle and make more money. I take in more new business.
Yeah.
Final closing thoughts, if you will.
You know, two things. The big hurdle is sort of the just do it thing.
Set your goals. It really is sort of your vision for retirement.
Don't be intimidated. It's never, you know, too late to get some help.
Be active in your own role for success, because it's really going to be up to you. It's not up to your employer. It's not up to your financial advisor. It's up to you to make that move to get something going right now.
Good final words. We want to thank our panel for being with us tonight. We thank you for joining us, particularly those of you watching at home.